To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio. Only this episode and one more episode remaining until we go on hiatus for the new Spare Parts Studio located by New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast. So till then, subscribe, share, donate. positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amounts appreciated. What is that? Is that a zit there? I got a little scab right there. Sorry. Oops. Gotta stop picking at it. Quit touching it. You'll go blind. Find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. You can email me directly through my website. Just go to the contact section of my website, positivesarcasm.com. Or you can email me directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com for all your questions, concerns, comments. Find me on YouTube and Rumble, Positive Sarcasm Podcast, or anywhere where podcasts are downloadable and available, including streamable and downloadable from my website directly, positivesarcasm.com. Simple as that. Available on all platforms. That's how RSS feeds work. Unless it's with Spotify, it's a little bit different. But still, there you have it. Actually, am I? I think I am. Probably look into that. There's so many revolving parts, and I don't know how I'm able to put it all together in this cramped little shitty studio that, thank God, has only a small amount of time left in its miserable existence that I've managed to figure out for the past 3 fucking years. But it's over and done with. But I did save myself a little bit of money. Not by switching to Geico, but by getting this shitty little place here, and now I'm finally packing up and going to a place that I have finally deserved. Well, let's put it that way. In this podcast, we're going to go back to, once again, it's the return of the guy with no certifications, no qualifications, no college degree, no certificates in anything other than maybe computer sciences. I'm not certified in accounting. I'm not a brokered Series 7 person here. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a fucking space astronaut, time traveler, blah, blah, blah. So once again, I'm going to take my zero experience and we're going to talk about something that apparently is plaguing everybody in the United States, and that is debt. We're going to talk about this again, and we're going to beat it to death this time. And we're just so curious. Debt. What is debt? Debt? Well, let's see. There's so many factors of it. There's medical debt. There's consumer debt such as car loans, credit card loans, personal loans. There's, there's we were talking about this. There's so many different types of debt, and yet everybody seems to have all of it all at once. I mean, I've had debt before. I've had thousands of dollars in debt several times in my life. But yet each time, with only in the span of a couple of years, I've managed to dig myself out with very minimal cash, by the way. I managed to dig myself out each and every time. Even though stuff seemingly, I guess according to most people, gets more expensive every single year. I mean, the consumer price index and the inflation supposedly goes up 2.5% to 3% every single year, except for the last few years. I mean, things have kind of just skyrocketed 50%. But yet, out of all of this stuff, I've managed to dig myself out every single time. So what is plaguing people where they're basically drowning in debt, even though they're making more money than ever? And yet they have the ability to blame everyone else but themselves. So we have numbers here. First off, I just finished my water. I have to grab my backup water. My backup water is this big old canteen of mine. Got to keep it sometimes because when I get a little loud, my throat gets a little parched. Excuse me. So first up, the biggest consumer debt is the biggest crisis right now that everybody's supposedly talking about and experiencing. What is consumer debt? Consumer debt is I'm going to go out and buy something that I maybe don't necessarily need and that I can't necessarily afford. But I say I can't afford this. That means I either A, can't pay for it using cash or a debit card or a personal check, or B, I can't put it on a credit card and pay it off within the same month. That, if it rolls over into another month, that is actual consumer debt. So consumer debt starts with, let's see, the actual numbers. So according to Experian, let's see, average U.S. consumer debt and statistics. So it talks about consumers in the United States owe $17.7 trillion in total debt in the third quarter of Q3 of 2024. That's up 2.5% from 2023. So consumers in the United States owed 17.75. It's a 2.4% increase from 7.315, blah, blah, blah. The restrained increase in total debt levels compared to with prior years is partly attributed to the slowing inflation rate, which has dropped to less than 3% for the first time since 2022. Even though the way that inflation and recessionary numbers have been kind of skewed to ignore certain things, whether it be core inflation or whether it be things such as services or dining out or for some reason. At the end of the day, things have increased. Regardless of whether inflation has slowed or increased, it has increased. Now, people looking to dig themselves out of debt don't understand what sacrifice means. Concentrated, consistent sacrifice. If you want to achieve something, you have to sacrifice something else. Total consumer debt, $17.15 trillion. And this is the United States alone, which is 360 to 400 billion people. 400 billion? 400 million. Million with an M, sorry. Experian examined representative and anonymized, anonymous credit data through Q3 of 2024 to identify trends within balance and delinquent data for major household credit cards. So it rose slightly. Generally revolving types of debt, Helix debts, credit cards, grew well above the average 2.4%. Installment debt secured by assets, auto loans, mortgages, for instance, grew more moderately. Yes, houses became more expensive. Car prices, used car prices, seemingly more expensive. If you're buying that type of car, student loan balances have declined markedly. A result, numerous federal loan debt cancellations coming to fruition for 2024. So, well, that the federal loan debt cancellation stuff is never coming to bear. There are some programs that give you student loan forgiveness, but we're gonna ignore that entirely because that shit takes like 10 years to actually happen. Moving ahead. Did I just already lose my concentration? I literally take Elevate You, Eternal Energy, and a brain pill, and I'm still fucking retarded and forgot everything I was just talking about. That being said, don't let the smart person jacket fool you. I'm really an idiot in real life. I have no qualifications whatsoever. You shouldn't listen to me at all. You should listen to your doctor, whoever prescribes you shit. You should listen to your nutritionist, who with the food pyramid that's apparently upside down. Anyways, back into business here. Student loan balance. Now, I can tell you that there's two colleges that I've heard of where enrollment is supposedly going down. There's budget cuts on two of these major colleges in the state of New Hampshire. Well-known ones, big ones, some of the biggest in New Hampshire. And they're dropping, they are forecasting significant drops in enrollment. So, take that for what you will. So, student loan, apparently the balances have declined markedly. Okay. Great. Now, the average consumer... Now, the average credit card... Or not credit card, excuse me. The average college debt is around $30,000. So, if you take that... What is $30,000? If it was a understandable amount of, interest rate, like, 3-4%, we'd be talking about, I don't know, between $250 and $300 a month. That in itself is a car loan payment in itself, but car loan payments have gone through the roof. If you want to understand a car loan payment or actually how much you're going to cost, not including the interest rate. This doesn't even include the interest rate. We're just talking about every $1,000 in a car loan, whether it be 60 or 72 months. The rough number for every $1,000 that a car costs you, it's $20 a month. So if you buy a $9,000 or $10,000 car, it's going to cost you $200 a month. So $5,000, $100. $10,000, $200. $15,000, $300. $20,000, $400. Wait, $350? Wait. 10 is 2. 20 is 4. The average car price is between $20,000 and $30,000. And there are average prices. Let's see. That's student loan debt. This is credit card. That's the price of coffee. Here it is. According to cargurus.com. Let's see. Body styles. They average. So a wagon, a basic bitch wagon, or a hatchback. A hatchback, the lowest price hatchback. Although I don't think this is correct. For a hatchback, $15,000. It's more like $20,000. But that's the lowest, $15,000. But your average car, like coupe or SUV, we're talking like between $25,000 and $35,000. They say, according to them, the average car price is between $25,000 and $27,000. So you're talking, if you put no money down for about 60 to 72 months, you're talking like a $450 to $500 a month car payment on a used car, not a brand new car, not a lease, anything like that. Just that's it. Boom. $400 a month, $400 to $450 to $500 a month for a full term loan. And it seems like that people's mileage is increasing. People are traveling farther, which means instead of your 10 to 15,000 miles per year. So if you drive 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. So your average car lasts you around 110, 120,000 miles. They generally last longer, but 6 to 7 years of driving a car, 15,000 miles a year, will get you, 5 to 7 years, and you'll be able to sell your car for a few grand at around 100,000 miles without hopefully any major repairs, unless you buy something stupid like a Mercedes C-Class or a BMW fucking 440 Grand Sport or something dumb like that. Why would you do that, you stupid idiot? You don't need that car. And there's nothing glamorous about driving a BMW or a Mercedes anymore, or an Audi. They're dog shit. What the fuck are you buying that thing for? So if you're driving 15,000 miles a year, you can get 5 to 7 years out of your car. That doesn't seem to be happening anymore. People are driving 20 to 25,000, even more than that. They're putting on between 30 and 35,000 miles a year on their cars. Even more than that. So when you think about it, people within 2 to 4 years are way upside down in their car because they have between a 5 and 7 year loan. And their car is they're already under within the first 2 years of owning the car. And they've already put 50,000 miles on the car. Now they buy it used. If you're buying it used, that thing's already got 30,000 miles on it. So after 2 years, you've already got 90,000 miles in the car, and you still owe 20 grand on the goddamn thing. You're not going to get your money back if you trade that thing in. I don't care what the market looks like. Not at all. You trade it in, you're going to buy something more expensive, which means you're not going to get the inflated trade value on your car. You're going to get the real trade value on your car. That's if the car you're buying actually gets financed to begin with, and that your credit is actually in good standing. A lot of factors people don't realize because they don't bother to educate themselves by the uncertified genius that I happen to be sometimes. Granted, I don't advocate buying cars that are over 100,000 miles, so you could buy something cheap for 5-6 grand, unless it's going to be a collector or something you look to fix up yourself. I've done that before. I bought a Saab Turbo with like 110,000 miles on it. I drove that thing for like 5 years, and fucking everything broke on that car. The turbo exploded. The fucking transmission broke on it. The Grand Prix that I bought, the transmission broke twice on that thing. The Pontiac G6 I had, that thing, I mean, the power steering died on that thing. So all these cars, but that they were all over 100,000 miles when I bought them. Well, except for the Grand Prix, that had 82, and then the breaking of the transmission on that thing, very sad on that. I was genuinely upset about that car failing like it did. But you live and you learn. But I don't do that anymore. I'm able to afford cars that you can buy for under $7,000. I've beat this over the head numerous times. You buy a car for like $5,000, $6,000. You put like $1,000 into it, and now you've got nicer. It's got nicer rims. It's got new rotors and pads, brakes, and you adapt people buy used cars like, oh, it's got a backup camera. Backup cameras are like fucking $20 on eBay and attaches to but it doesn't have a screen. You can buy like an LCD touchscreen Bluetooth CarPlay system for your car for like between $50 and $100 and attach a freaking a backup camera or a dash cam to it for next to nothing. Like I said, $1,000 on an older car that has like 50,000 miles, 40,000 miles, in some case 30,000 miles, like a nice Ford Focus SE with a spoiler and five spoke rims. You could get it for like $5,000. You put $1,000 into it, you got a sweet little ride that gets over 30 miles to the gallon, and it's got all the accoutrement of a new car and less shit that's likely to break. And even if it does break, it's going to be cheaper to fix because it's an older car, and those parts are readily available in the aftermarket in a modular fashion. You have a problem with that with an item that breaks in an Audi. It comes in a housing package that costs like $250 just for the part. And then good luck with the freaking a mechanic touching that thing. They're charging well over $100 an hour for that pile of shit. If you think the Germans are so smart with cars, please. So you're paying $25,000 for a used car that you're basically going to run into the ground after about 2 to 4 years. It's going to be racked up on miles. You're going to be upside down in the actual loan, and then you're going to roll that into another car, and you're now on the path to self-destruction. Congratulations, you stupid idiot. So now you got a $25,000. So at this point, you probably owe, like, I'd say $15,000. You're upside down $15,000, $20,000 in the car. You have, according to this, what is the average consumer debt? What's the average consumer debt? On top of that, total debt balances by debt type. Mortgage. Let's see. This is by, what's the average student? This is credit card. Okay. That just breaks it down. I want to know by person. So, let's see. Gen Z, 18 to 27. Their total debt by generation. So, total debt by generation, the silent generation, 79 plus, negative 6.8%. Baby boomers, negative 1.8%. So everybody talks about the boomers. They were negative 1.8% in total debt balance. Gen X was plus 1.5%. So for boomers and silent Gen, debt went down, or at least according to whatever. So Gen X went up 1.5. Millennials, that's me, 5 point. Well, I'm a mix between like. I'm at the end of Gen X and the beginning of millennial. So, but that's when debt started to go up, and then Gen Z just took debt to a whole nother level. Between the ages of 18 and 27, so many things were offered to them: DoorDash, Uber, Lyft. College tuition went up. Car prices went up. Services went up. Rent went up. Mortgages went up. So ultimately, they had the same amount of stupidity as millennials, but ultimately the cost of that stupidity increased dramatically. So they're bearing the brunt of it. Now, I'm not going to put I'm definitely going to place blame on the cost of things, but I'm also going to place blame on the people deciding that I can't afford this, so I'm going to put it on my credit card. That's not necessarily true. I know the average cup of coffee is around $4.50. In 2024, it was $3.08, but now it's $4.50. But at the end of the day, you can go to the grocery store and buy a bag of coffee for between $5 and $7, and that'll last you several weeks. You can make it at home for next to nothing, you stupid fuck. Anybody know how to use a coffee machine or a French press or a Keurig or, anything like that anymore? That's the thing. That's what? How much is that? Once again, we're going to do this calculation. $4.50 times 6 days a week. So say you skip a day of having coffee. You don't have any coffee on Sunday, but your average 5-day work week plus a Saturday to go because you're going out with your friends, it's $27 a week. So $27 a week times 4. So the average month has 4 weeks. That's $108. $108. So if you've got if you've got a credit card payment, you could pay it down if you had that extra $108. So let's just drag it down to $100 because that bag of coffee every month is going to cost you about $8. So we'll just take that $8 that you got from that amount you're spending there on coffee, and we'll buy that bag of coffee. You still got $100 left over. You can use that. You've got $2,000 in credit card debt. You can pay that down pretty damn quickly, or $100 a month. That's not bad. A couple of years, you'd be debt free. So that's obviously so the average college loan is about $30,000 right now. $30,000. So you're going to be paying a couple $100 a month. If you're actually looking to pay your college loan down, it's going to cost you a couple $100 a month, and it's going to take you about with no deferments, it's going to take you about, I'd say, anywhere between 10 and 20 years to pay that shit off. I'd say a solid 15. At $200 a month, it's going to take you about 10 to 15 years to pay that down. So you're going to have that on your credit card, on your credit report for about 10 to 15 years to pay that $30,000 off. And then you're going to need a car to get to work. So according to this case, it's going to cost you around 20 to 25 grand. So now you got 30 grand in college loans. You got 25 grand in used car loans. So you're now at 50. Let's just be modest. Let's say $50,000. $50,000. And you come right out of the great gate because you went to college and you didn't know how to cook for yourself because you're a fucking idiot because nobody taught you how. You got about, let's say, what's the average credit card debt? Let's see if we can find that data. Household record, that's credit card debt statistics. Total debt, $1.36 trillion. Household average, $11,000. Household record, $12,000. Q4 2007. Average APR. So that's insane. 21.91%. Delinquency rate, 1.8 on accounts 30 days delinquent. Charge-off rate, 4.4% of accounts are charged off. End of year projection, $100 billion increase in total debt. So let's just say the average household average is $11,000 in credit card debt. That's just credit card debt. That is just credit card debt at a 21% interest rate. Let's see here. Credit card. The average credit card balance is $11,000 per household, which is roughly $1,500 of the all-time record. Okay, fine. So let's adjust this down because this is mind-boggling. Let's bring that down. We're going to do the averages. Let's do $10,000. So you got $30,000 in college loans. You've got $20,000. If you got $30,000. You're 18. You go to college. You get out at 22. Which I don't think that's the case. You probably go to a tech school. It costs you about that's 2 years. 2 years in tech school, 30 grand. So you get an associate's degree. That's going to cost you, and you stay in the dorms, $30,000. So you're 20 years old. You now go get a car. You're financed for a car, which right now is going to have a minimum, unless you get a cosigner, a minimum 7 to 8% interest rate. So now you got a $20,000 credit car loan debt. So let's see. You went to college for a couple of years. You tacked on $5,000 to $7,000. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, buying clothes that you don't need, shit that you can't afford. So $10,000 for credit card debt, $20,000 for an auto loan, $30,000 for a college loan. So we're at $60,000, and your brain isn't even fully developed yet, and you can't even rent a car yet. You're already at $60,000. What else can you tack on top of that? I have no fucking idea at this point. So that's insane. Credit card debt by state. Let's see. New Hampshire is ranked 8th. So even in the states with relatively little credit card debt, it will take over 11 months to pay off the median credit card balance, assuming an average APR and monthly payment amount. Okay. California is ranked 20th, honestly enough. New Hampshire is ranked 8th, which is in what? Credit card debt by state. So we're up there. Who's number 1? Really? Alaska? That's wild. States with the least. Okay. No. That's legit. States with the most amount of credit card debt: Alaska, D.C., Vermont, Colorado, New Mexico, Oregon, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Washington, and Georgia. So median credit card debt is. Okay, so I'll take that. I'll bring that down. It's between $27 and $3,800 per. Months and days till payoff. 17 months, 16 months, 13 months. Okay. States with the least amount of credit card debt. you're still in the $2,000 range, $2,000 to $3,000. So we'll bring that down a bit. Oh, credit card debt by age. People ages of 30 to 59 have an average 133% more credit card debt than their older and younger counterparts. So it's starting to creep up. It's getting close to $5,000 for the age group of 30 to 59. That's fucking wild. So we're still at around $45,000 to $50,000. You've got a college loan you're paying off. You have, which I did. I had a $34,000 college loan. I had, but I had like 10 to 15 grand in consumer debt, like not just car loan, but credit card debt. So I went through all that, but I never declared bankruptcy. I instead went to war with the credit cards companies themselves and got out of that. And never made that mistake again after that. And I've had some crazy financial history. I mean, I had attorneys. I had an attorney for several months to take care of the whole, Chase Michael fiasco. But I basically used like some retirement for that. Worth it still. Don't regret it. Number of accounts with credit card debt. There are 441 million credit card accounts, of which 191 million accounts had a revolving balance carried from month to month during Q2 of 2023. The percentage has not changed much in recent years. Carried a balance, didn't use the card, used the card but didn't carry a balance. Used the card but didn't carry a balance is in the blue, 33%. Didn't use the card, 23%. Carried a balance is 43%. That's like the rate of obesity in the United States at this point. Charge-offs and delinquencies. The rate of consumers who are 30 days late or more on their credit card bill or who've charged off altogether are trending upward, indicating that minimum payments are becoming harder to make. And it does become harder to make the more the actual credit card debt goes up. It's pretty easy to pay down a $2,000 debt. All you got to do is figure out a way to have $100 a month or $100 every 2 weeks go towards your credit card. And if you do a month, if you manage to take that credit card and say, I'm not using this anymore, and you go $100 a month towards it, $2,000, you're going to basically, in 18 months, you're going to what? Let's see, $100 is 10, $2,000 a month. So in 20 months, which is less than 2 years, you'll have no credit card debt. That's a decent approach. That's a respectable amount if you just can't really do it right now. But there are ways. I'm not going to lie. There are plenty of ways to figure out how to scrape together $100 a month. There is. If you've got a Netflix account, you're buying your coffee, at a store, like a service place like Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons or Coffee Bean or whatever. All right, these are ways. I mean, just the coffee itself is going to just the coffee thing. That's $100 in itself. But if you got Disney Plus or Paramount or Hulu and all this stuff and all these Spotify, which okay, cool. The only streaming service I have is Pandora. That's it. And that's like $5.99. But on top of that, if you figure out a way every 2 weeks, if you get paid bi-weekly, if you're able to come up with $200 in less than a year, you can be credit card debt free if you only have like $2,000, which is kind of a little bit below the nationwide average, although it's starting to tick up. So that's understandable. Credit card debt survey stats. Nearly half of Americans are concerned that tariffs will make their credit card debt worse. Depends on what you buy. Remember, there's so much shit that people buy that they don't need. Nearly half of Americans are concerned with tariffs to make their credit card debt worse. 1 in 4 people say they have more credit card debt, but they will have more debt by the end of 2025. Boy, it's early in the year. We're only in like Q1 right now. 46% of Americans don't have a debt payoff plan. Almost 3 times more Americans are most worried about inflation compared to tariffs. Nearly 4 in 5 people don't trust AI for information about managing their credit card debt. You don't need AI to manage your credit card debt. You just need a fucking calculator. You don't need AI. You just need a calculator. A calculator calculates how much debt you have, how much money you're taking in every month, how many bills you have, and then in your own brain, you should be able to figure out what you exactly don't need. Netflix does not put food on the table. Netflix can take food off the table. 83% of Americans think the government should put a cap on credit card interest rates. Okay, what's the cap? And how's that going to matter? They should put a fucking cork in your mouth and put a zipper with a lock on it on your pocket so you don't spend your money. Nearly 4 in 5 people say the country's debt is in worse shape than their personal debt. Okay. What are you fucking worried about? Why are you worried about the country's debt at this point? First off, don't worry about the federal government's debt at this point. If you have a right to complain if you have little to no debt. If you have little to no debt, you can talk, in my opinion, you can talk about the federal government's debt. Okay? Just because they're being irresponsible with money doesn't give you the right to be irresponsible with your money. It's not their fault that you're in debt. You're in debt. It's your fault. It's 9 times out of 10, it's your choosing. Questions and answers. This person here. Let's see. The average credit card rates by age is $4,000 for people between the ages of 18 and 35. Average credit card debt by range. Here we go. 18 to 35, $4,000. But here's the thing. That's on the lower end. People between the ages of 35 and 44, $6,300. And it gets more as they get older until the age of 75. Then it creeps down because that's the silent generation who actually knew how to do stuff at home and cook at home and make coffee at home and enjoy themselves without having to be out and about. And remember, you're talking to somebody who has no debt. No, none. Do I have a credit card? Yes, I do. So, for example, if I have some that auto withdrawals, like, for example, my Pandora account, which is $5.99 a month, I use that. It auto withdrawals, and the minute I see it on my thing, I pay it off. Why? Because I can afford the $5.99 a month because I'm responsible. I don't mind having ads on my Spotify when I'm listening to Rogan or anything, or YouTube or Hulu. And there's plenty of free movie accounts out there. Legit stuff, too, by the way. Not stuff that you steal. There's plenty of that stuff out there. So, here's the thing. If you have $30,000... I paid off my college loans. It took me... Let's see. I was out of college when I was about 21. About 21. I had about $34,000. I paid the last certain amounts, like... The last $700 on my Sallie Mae, I paid that $700 off just with one big check, and I was done with it. It was a small debt for them. The other one with the Granite State Federal loan, that was $5,000. I paid that off with just a big check. I was like, here you go. Here's $5,000. Fucking get lost. And that was it. Boom. In my mid-30s, I was college loan free. My Mustang, I took a small loan on that thing. $400 I paid for that. I put on a card. Not on a card, excuse me. I put on a what do you call it? I took a car loan. But I paid that off. I bought it in 2019. I paid it off in like 2021. A few grand, no big deal. Done. What else? And yeah, it's ultimately if you have 30 grand, I mean the obvious solution is just don't go to college. If you don't need to go to college, don't go. Everybody is going to go get either you call it a shit job when you first start out, when you first graduate high school. By the time you should be able to go and have some type of little job when you're in high school, something that puts gasoline in your car if you have one. And back then you don't need much of a car. You just need a little, fucking a little go-to mobile. By the time to go to college, if you're first of all, if you don't have to go to college, which in my opinion, you don't have to go to college. You don't. You get a little job for a couple of years, you save some money, and then you actually go to where you want to go. If you want to move to a different city or a different town or a different state, you save up a little bit of money by basically working for a couple of years for some, I don't know, it could be a grocery store for all I know. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Or you work for Wendy's, or you work for, I don't know, some shit healthcare company or whatever. But ultimately, you save up for a couple of years, you put in your dues, and it's like, all right, Mom and Pop, I think it's time that I left. I'm not going to bother you anymore. You don't have to feed my face anymore. I'm going to go ahead and go out on my own. I got several grand saved up. There's plenty of people hiring right now. I'm going to go try living in this town. And I got my own money, so you don't have to worry about me. If I need your help, I'll ask for it. But for now, let's just go and take that risk. Go hit the Oregon Trail, son. Make a name for yourself. But if you go to college, just understand that's $30,000. That's $300 a month that you're going to have to pay as soon as deferral is over. regardless whether you graduate or not, you're going to have a short amount of time for deferral, and then you're going to start seeing those bills. You're going to start seeing those bills. Even if you go for like the loan forgiveness program, you're still going to have to pay a little bit of money to some agency who holds that debt over your head for a very long time. It's going to show up in your credit report. You can't get rid of it. But the other item here is the car stuff. So if you go to college and you can't afford to, maybe you don't have the time to go, I don't know, if you're studying like a heavy subject, how are you affording to eat and stuff? You're going out and like you just got your credit card, and they're going to give you a $500 credit card, which is going to turn into a $2,000 credit card, which is going to turn into a $3,000 credit card. Now you get a couple grand that you can't afford to pay off. Now you've got that $100, $120 a month bill coming in on top of your college loan. And now you got to go get a car that's going to get you to work that's too far away. So now you got a $20,000 freaking used car monthly thing, and you got to have insurance on top of that. In a lot of states, thankfully not in my state. Live free or die, motherfuckers. So how do you avoid this trap? The parents are partially responsible for making you go to these bullshit institutions and setting you up with a stupid car loan. Yeah, we'll co-sign for you for it. We'll co-sign on it, honey. Now, if you co-sign for somebody, a student who crashes their car or just at least drives it, which is just as bad, and now all of a sudden you've got this, that car loan is sitting on your parents and it's sitting on you, and you've got this, and you're racking up the miles because you're just, I can go wherever I want. Because you have no concept of what's going to happen when this thing hits 100,000 miles and shit just starts randomly breaking. You take it to a mechanic who's going to charge you $500 to fix the fucking thing. How are you going to pay for that? With a credit card. So we're at $50,000. $50,000 in just random-ass debt. Random-ass debt. Average student loan debt in 2025. $38,000. So $38,000, average credit card debt, $4,000, auto loan debt. I mean, Jesus Christ, average price of coffee, who cares? This is something you could easily solve. I mean, what's the average auto loan? Let's just look that up. Average auto loan. First of all, you got a 7% interest rate. Oh my God. $525. Average loan term for a new car is 68 months. Used car, 67 months. So that's between 60 and 72 months. So you're talking about between 4 and 6 years. $525 a month. Oh my God. So the average monthly car payment for new vehicles is $742. Used cars is $525. So what is that? Average auto loan in general that's interest rates. That's interest rates. So if you have a $525, we already did the math on this earlier. So $525, if it's a $20,000 car, if it's a $20,000 car, it's $400 a month before the interest is added on to the monthly price, to the overall price and whatever. So $400 plus that. So if it's $525, we're talking the average cost being over $30,000. There is no reason. There's no reason, unless you make $100,000 a year. I mean, you don't need a car price like that. $38,000. $38,000. That's fucking asinine. I don't care what you're making. It's not necessary. It isn't necessary. You should have significant money down if you're going to buy a car of that amount. $38,000 plus $4,000, you're at $42,000 plus how much? What was it? $38,000. 38 plus 4 is 42 plus 30. What's 525? That is $30,000. $32,000. About $32,000. Once again, we go to the calculator. So 32 plus 38 plus 4. So that's car loan, college loan, credit card loan. $74,000. And we're not done with that. We also have medical debt. Medical debt is around, there's the let's see. Approximately 14 million people in the United States, about 6% of adults, they owe over $1,000 in medical debt. 3 million people, which is 1% of adults, owe medical debt more than $10,000. So that's, now, first off, we'll just, okay, fine. We will add on for $1,000. All right, so that's plus $1,000. So it's 75 grand. How quickly? And this is only in the span of a few years. College loan, auto loan, credit card debt, and medical debt. Before the age of 25, $75,000. Just sitting there. What else can we tack onto this giant pile of shit? There's got to be something. There's got to be something else that can fuck you over royally. So you got $75,000. We have all that stuff in there. Is there anything else we can to put in there that's going to blow people away? Well, first off, so you got $75,000. So, yeah, you have a $32,000 car loan. You also got car insurance, which is astronomical. Astronomical. You have to have full, comprehensive, and collision. And who the hell knows that's going to cost you a month? That's going to cost you when you're young. I don't know. What's the average car? What's the average auto insurance? What's average auto insurance? Take that into consideration. $224 or $2,600 a year. Minimum coverage is $800. So about, let's just say $2,000. Do the average. It's about $2,000. Costing a coverage 67. So 224 minimum coverage 67. And people are crashing the shit out of their cars, which makes the premium go up. So we're at another $2,000. So we'll add on plus $2,000. So we're at 75. We're at 77 grand. Because it is, for the year, it's going to be technically debt. That is monthly revolving debt. That never goes away. It may go down, but it doesn't go away. So now you got $2,000 because that auto loan is going to be there. So now you have an additional $2,000 of revolving debt. That's for your auto loan. Most people go to a job. They have a premium they have to pay for their health insurance. So what is the average health insurance premium? Health insurance premium. Let's take a look at that. Monthly, $477. So individual plans, affordable care, average monthly cost is $590 without subsidies. So let's do 40-year-old might pay an average of $535. Okay, let's just do the average monthly health insurance premium for a benchmark plan in 2025 is $477. So let's just do $450. So let's do, if we got 77 grand, let's do $450 a month times 12. That's $5,400. So $5,400 plus the $77,000. We're now at $82,000. You think I'm fucking playing? You think I'm joking? These are the actual statistics, real statistics. I've seen car prices out there for the people, and these are the prices that people are actually spending. This is like the reality of these things. Okay, and these are debts that are not going away because people are having more health problems than ever because they're not willing to do anything about it, or they don't understand what they should be doing about these health problems. So the debt on that only goes up, and this is This isn't even the debt I'm adding on. This is just your monthly premium that you either pay through your workplace or you pay for out of pocket. Doesn't matter. It's taking money out of your taking money out of your paycheck so that you can pay for this. That's revolving debt. We're at over $82,400 for you to before the age of 25. Congratulations, $80,000. So how the fuck are you gonna pay that off? You're not making $80,000 a year right off the bat. That's not happening. The average starting pay is like between $16 and $20 an hour, which actually it's not bad. If you didn't have any debt or very little debt, that's actually not bad. You can actually start a life with that. Most people say that's not possible. You're not. It's doable. If you're making between $18 and $22 an hour, which actually that's a very doable thing. $18 and $22 an hour when you first start out in life, maybe 19, you get out of high school and you go work for someplace. You've got no debt. You didn't go to college. There you go. But we're talking when you add all this stuff up, consumer debt, student loan debt, used car prices, medical debt, the premiums that you're paying on top of that, you're talking, $82,000 is the average, respectable average in the United States according to all these statistics. Now, if you want to get even, if that's 82 grand, how long is it going to take you to pay off 82 grand? You're now a slave to the financial institutions. But you put yourself in those chains. You did this to yourself. Okay? They were just taking advantage of a fool. Millions of them. So, and that's 82 grand. We can be modest and say 50. $50,000 of debt is still a lot of money. And that's easy to fuck up. Go to college for a couple of years, buy a car that you didn't necessarily need, spend a couple grand on credit cards and Uber Eats and stuff like that. You're there very quickly. You have maybe accident, you hurt yourself on the job, or you hurt yourself, I don't know, going bicycle riding or some shit. You go to the hospital, you get a couple, stitches, you get your ankle dislocated or broken or whatever, and it just racks up accident. The shit piles up on you. Didn't have to happen, but it did. How do you prevent this? Honestly, how do you prevent going from starting out in life, graduating high school? How do you prevent between $50,000 and $100,000, depending upon where you live and what you do, in just overall debt, whether it be revolving debt, college loans, auto loans, all that stuff put together? How do you avoid the whole fucking thing? It is very simple. You gain experience not through college, but through working. So if you get out of high school, you go into the job market ASAP. You maybe take the summer. You can take the summer if you'd like to figure out, to relax and change your mindset, and then you go into a job. So your biggest pitfall is college. Now you can go to a tech institute, you take a couple classes here and there, you go online, or you do like a VOTEC or vocational institute. But ultimately, you want to avoid that 30 grand, that big 30 to 35 grand, and in some cases 50 grand if you go into a 4-year institution. Because what's tuition? 15, 20 grand a year? Depending upon where you go. 15 to 20 grand a year? All right. Now you're in some serious debt. So, not everybody's making the lacrosse team. Hate to break it to you. Now you start off, you want to avoid that first huge chunk, that 30 grand. You go from 82,000, you don't go to college. Easily. So, 82,000 minus 30 grand. We're down to $52,000. You don't go to college. You work for 2 to 4 years. Okay? 2 to 4 years for a company or mom and pop shop, whatever. You work for 2 to 4 years instead. You take some of that money and you figure out where you're going to go. You're making that money, be like, okay, I'm going to invest some of it. Maybe like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000. You put some in a Roth IRA. This is all free, by the way, to do. All 100% free to do, by the way. There are financial advisors everywhere. You can get a little bit of crypto. You get a little bit of commodities such as gold, silver. You get a little bit of like stocks, like some monthly paying dividend stocks, some growth stocks, some quarterly paying stocks. You get some indexes or some ETFs that also pay a small thing quarterly, and they reinvest in themselves. And you let those grow, and you reinvest in those over the course of several years. And you take some of that other money and use it for travel expenses. Like, hey, I'm planning on moving to somewhere where the job I kind of want or the thing I want to do is over here, so I'm going to need a little bit of cash for that move. So you basically give yourself like a year's worth. Okay? You're making between 16 and 22 bucks an hour just by getting into the workforce, which is 100% reality. In a lot of places, you make that money and then you move on to that place. So you're going to save yourself maybe 6 months to a year worth of savings when you move to that place that you want to. But you still don't have that college debt. So you're already down to 52 grand. So what kind of car do you have in that point? Well, if you don't have if you don't buy a $20, $25, $30, $35,000 car, maybe you have like your beater that you had from high school, then you have no debt other than repair bills. That's you're going to have repair bills. That's the reality of it. Or you go and get yourself a $5,000 to $7,000 car. Now your loan is, which is very doable. You can get a loan for that easily. Now your loan is like $150 a month. And you can get these cars for between 30 and 50,000 miles. And if you're driving short distances, which is what you should be doing, short distances, you're only putting about 12,000 miles a year, which will give you 4 years in that car. And that's before 100,000 miles. That's before you hit 100,000 miles. You can risk it if you have like a Toyota or a Honda and go beyond 100,000 miles if you want, But ultimately, you have this $5,000 to $6,000 car loan. You're going to pay that off in 4 years. Now you got this thing free and clear. You either drive it into the ground or you basically sell that off to somebody who wants to go past 100,000 miles. You've now got a few grand in your pocket to go buy something else. And you can pay for the next car in cash. Preferably something Japanese or American with low miles. So in that instance, you don't have any car loan. By the time you enter the age of 22, 23, you got no auto loan, you got no car loan. You're now in the black, as they say, a surplus. Okay, you have money invested, whether it be in a Roth IRA, a 401k, which you can transfer over to your next job, and then you have like an actual investment account. So you have money in the stock market, indexes, commodities, crypto, things like that. All right, we're rolling. We're in your early 20s now. All right? You're young, you're vibrant, you're horny as shit. You're not going out to... Now, what else can you do? Let's see. There's $2,000 to $4,000 in credit card debt. How did you get that? By buying shit you didn't need. That's easy to fix. If you keep it if you have a revolving debt of maybe like a few $100, that's no big deal. You can survive on that. You just say to yourself, I'm not letting my credit card go above $200 to $300. Okay. You want to have some credit. You want to build your credit score. Okay, fine, great. You want to do that? Play that game. That's fine. I'm okay with you playing the game. You get like a personal loan. Take out a personal loan, or you have a little. Your bank gives you a little credit card. They give you a little credit card. You put like $100 on there, or what you do is you get like your monthly phone bill. Now your phone bill does not have to be expensive. People are spending an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy S96 Plus Platinum, with a built-in fucking ICBM, is gonna run you, that's like $800-900, $1,000, $1,200. You don't need that. You don't need that. There are phones out there for beautiful, awesome phones that, my nephew Timmy showed me one today. It was insane. There's like a 60-plus megapixel camera on it. It was fucking insane. It was like $230. My phone cost me $129. My phone bill is $20 a month. You can get an average with unlimited data, $25. So you don't need a $75 to $100 a month phone plan. It's $25. You put your credit card on there. Boom, your statement pumps up. Oh, you got $20 in your credit card. Oh, $25 on my credit card. Oh, must be my phone bill. Paid on time. All right, paycheck comes in next week. Pay that off. You're good. There you go. You get zero debt. Where are you buying your clothes? Where are you buying your shoes? Well, there's places like Slick Deals and eBay and secondhand stores for a reason. Shit costs nothing, bro. You know, you could buy a pair of like Adidas or Pumas online, depending upon the sales, for like $20-25. You got a fresh set of kicks. White, blue, pink, pick your color. $20-25. You can afford that, especially if you got no credit card debt or no college loans. Yeah, you get a nice fresh set of kicks. Go get some clothes from the secondhand store. Vintage clothes are always better than new clothes anyways. That costs you nothing. Costs you $3 for a shirt, sport jacket, set of slacks. Your most expensive thing you're going to buy is probably fucking underwear and socks at that point. So there you go. There's that. So we got rid of, I mean, obviously, credit card debt. Credit card debt is your own goddamn fault. Seriously, that's your own goddamn fault. There's no other way around it. It's your own goddamn fault. Spending money, going out, Uber Eats, Uber this, Uber super duper. It's just your own goddamn fault that you have all this money on that credit card. Okay? So you eliminate that $4,000. Well, first of all, the whole car loan thing, that's easy. You go and buy let's just say a $6,000 car. There are plenty of $6,000 cars available that look really good. I'd say about a 7 to 8 out of 10 as far as appearances. Low miles. We're talking between 30 and 50,000 miles on these cars. So we'll get you 4 or 5 years. So we'll take, let's see. We'll do minus, if we've already minused, let's see here. 52,000, so we're going to minus the 30,000. See, we get $32,000, so we'll bring it down to 26. If you spent 6,000, they would take 32, 6 minus 32, so basically we're going down 32 grand, we're going to go down $26,000 from the 52 grand that we're already at. So minus $26,000. We're now at $26,000. All right, where else are we coming in with money? We have 26 grand worth of debt. We've eliminated college loans, and we've eliminated a large auto loan. What else we got? The credit card debt. You're responsible with your debt. You pay it off. You don't buy dumb shit. You don't go out and spend fucking $20, $25, $30 a week in coffee where you just buy a bag of coffee for every few weeks or once a month. Make it at home. It's better anyways. All right, so that's what, $4,000 in credit card debt that you don't need? All right, we're down to, let's minus another $4 grand. No credit card debt. Congratulations. We're down to $22,000. All right, starting to get a little more manageable, but we're still up there. There's revolving debt we're talking about here. We're talking about we have two things of revolving debt here right now. Medical debt. We put $1,000. I believe we put $1,000 in there. Let me scroll up a bit. See what else we have. 75, 2, 6, 1. Okay, $1,000. So let's go down to the end. We'll do minus $1,000. That's your medical debt. Get rid of that. All right. Now your medical premiums a month. This is fucking stupid, by the way. When you're this young, you should not be putting yourself in a situation where you are getting this sick and having to spend all this money on medical premiums, which according to the statistics I have here, health insurance premiums are $400. Well, it's $477. We brought it down to $400 to be kind. So $400. We're at, let's remember this number: $21,000, $21,400. So $400 a month times 12. We're at $4,800. $4,800. We're at $22,400. So $21,400. $21,400 minus $4,000. Oops, that's times. Sorry. $21,400 minus $4 grand. We're at $17,400. We have if we have what is it? That was the health insurance premiums here. Now your what does this see? The average, that's $525. We got rid of that. We got the average price of coffee. Don't worry about that. We have the average health insurance premiums. Average auto insurance premium is $2,600 a year. So we're going to take that $2,500. We'll just do $2,500. We'll minus $2,500. We're at $14,900. So we got $15,000 worth of credit card, worth of debt here, basically. So we got a $6,000 auto loan. We got a $6,000 auto loan. We've eliminated the medical debt. We've eliminated the health insurance bullshit. We've eliminated college. We've eliminated the large auto loans. We eliminated the CCs. We're down to $14,900. What else is here? What else? What am I missing here? Of ultimate like bullshittery. The credit cards, we did that. Student loan debt, we got rid of that. How the fuck did we get all the way up to? How are we still having 15 grand? We shouldn't have any. So ultimately, let's recalculate here. So let's say you have a $6,000 auto loan. $6,000 auto loan. And no credit card debt. No credit card debt. Let's just say you got a plus $3,000 credit card debt. A $300 credit card debt. Just revolving. Like, well, it shouldn't even be that much. So you're at $6,300 when you're starting out in life. All right. Let's say your car, obviously you're going to have a car. The biggest issue here is your auto insurance cost. That's your biggest issue. So your ultimate goal on this thing, so that's going to be $2,000 a year, so we'll plus $2,000. So you're at $8,300. So your goal within 4 years, you're 18, you graduated. You got to, let's just say then you have an auto loan for $6,000 and you have $300 on your credit card and you have $2,000 that you're paying for revolving every year for your auto loan. How do we make that go to zero? Simple. You have a 4-year auto loan. So 12, 24, 36, 48. 48-month auto loan. That's no big deal. So let's just say you could pay that down in 4 years. You pay that down in 4 years. Hell. So you do that. You now have minus your $6,000 credit card car loan. You're down to $2,300. You take that auto insurance, because by the time your car hits 100,000 miles, it's not going to be worth shit anyways for the bank to give you any money in case you get into an automobile accident. So at that point, if you're paying, I don't know, $30 a month, so that $2,000, at that point, let's just say minus $1,800. Because your comprehensive and collision, you basically just got rid of it. Now you just got liability. So in case you hit somebody else, they can't come for your neck. You're down to $500. So medical debt. You don't have to go into medical debt. Used car prices. The truth is you don't have to pay these average used car prices. You don't. There's plenty of cars out there. Ford Explorers, Mercury Mountaineers, nice SUVs, Ford Focuses, Saturns, Honda Civics, Toyota Corollas, cheap cars, Toyota Avalons, Honda Accords. Just basic cars, simple cars. You go out there, you buy them, they don't cost so much. They cost between $4,000 and $8,000 at the most. $8,000. They got low miles. They got good gas mileage. You're going to have no debt. I'm serious. Look, I mean, I'm doing the calculations for you. I don't have to put it up on the screen. You just listen to me here as far as these are the numbers. These are all the statistics that I'm providing to you as far as, according to the article monitor here. These are the average prices of these cars. Car Crew Index, $27,000. Convertibles, coupes, crossovers, hatchbacks, minivans, pickup trucks, SUVs, sedans, vans, wagons. The cheapest one is a hatchback at $14,000 for used car prices. Makes and models. $26,000 for an Acura. Audis, $29,000. Chevy, $27,000. Chrysler, why the fuck would you buy that? $19,000. Dodge, $23,000. Ford, $27,000. These are for used car prices. Now, these prices are based on newer cars. Newer, but still technically used. So, prices have jumped in the last 30 days, obviously due to tariffs and things like that. Okay, fine, whatever. But Experian is telling you that Gen Z, their changes in debt is going through the roof. The demographics in debt, obviously, gone through the roof. Credit card debt, right here. Average credit card debt, $4,000, $6,000, $6,000, $7,000. That's real, okay? And this is people being irresponsible. Roughly there isn't a combined average credit card debt for all ages is roughly 10 grand per household, which is fucking insane. Average student loan debt. They give you the average overall numbers. But you can get that. Here, this is actually the one that says it's the lowest is medical debt, like $1,000. That ain't shit. That's nothing. You can pay that off in a few months, less than a year. Average price of coffee, though, that's real. And this is a difference maker. It's the little shit like that starts to add up. All right, so let's put it to you this way. Let's do the little things. Let's just do the little things that everybody says they refuse to give up. All right, how much is an Amazon? What's Amazon Prime? What's a membership to Amazon? What's to do a Prime membership? Prime membership is $14.99 a month. Okay, so $14.99 a month, 14.99. $14.99 a month plus, let's say, if your average coffee price is $25 a week, that's $100 a month, plus $100 a month in coffee. So we're at $114.99, and then you have a Netflix account. Netflix is what? How much is a Netflix membership? Netflix plans. How much is a Netflix plan? Is anybody going to give me the fucking answer here or what? Let's just do Netflix price. Oh my fucking God. Is it going to give me a price or what? As you can tell, I don't have it. Like, I don't own Netflix. Netflix with ads is $7.99. With ads. Okay. Netflix with ads is starting at $7.99. 1080p, blah, blah, blah. Why I love this plan. Okay. Great. So let me see. That's the lowest. What's with ads? People don't want ads. So let's see. Do they have other ways to watch? Let's see. Ways to watch. Netflix, account, media center. Do not share. Only on Netflix. Corporate information. Ways to watch. Okay. So what's Netflix with ads? Is it like $10.99? All right. So let's just add 10. So let's just do plus $10 a month. All right. $125 a month. We're getting close to that car payment, by the way. So that's just a Netflix account, a Prime membership, and buying coffee instead of making it at home. We're at $125 a month. That's fucking crazy. Right there. $125 right there that you could eliminate right now on shit you don't need. Amazon is a waste of time. Complete waste of time. You don't need it. Okay? $125 right there. Get rid of Amazon Prime. Is that really $25? Yeah. Yeah, it is. The biggest thing that's killing you right there is definitely the coffee. You start making coffee at home, it's going to drop it down to nothing. But a Netflix account, that's all that extra money, that's going to basically be able to fund your $6,000 car. But here's the thing. If you're making, let's see, $18 a month, $18 an hour times 40 hours, 720 times 4, $2,800 a month. $2,800 a month. So $700 a week. I mean, let's see. It's probably going to be like more like six something that you clear. Not bad. You can make a life for yourself on that. And you're young. Remember, this is when you're young. We're not talking about somebody who's approaching the age of 30,
They got several years in the workforce. We're not talking about that. We're talking about some schmuck who's barely got pubes on their thing, and they're going out into the world for the first time, and they're deciding not to go to college, and they're deciding not to fucking buy a hugely expensive car, and they didn't have any self-made health problems. Just a basic human being going out to explore the world in some way, shape, or form. They don't have to have $80,000 in debt by the time they're 22 or by the time their brain's fully developed at the age of 25. They don't have to be spending $125 a month on bullshit like Amazon Prime and Netflix and fucking coffee at Starbucks, which is the obvious stereotypical offender. You can go ahead and use that $125 a month for other things, such as your car insurance, your gym membership, groceries, buying your own coffee and making it at home. Little things like that. Ultimately, a lot of the things that they're telling you, you need to have this, talk to your doctor about this, and you got to have that. You don't got to do any of it. You don't have to. You don't. I'm just telling you the truth. Like, the government didn't make you do any of this shit. Like, the healthcare mandate, it's gone. That's gone. Vaccine mandate, that's gone. Student loans, you don't have to go to college. That's not mandated. Medical debt, that's not mandated. Used car prices, that's not mandated. You don't have to spend 20, 30 grand on a used car. You don't, stupid. Credit card debt, that's on you, bro. Sis, whatever. That's on you. I didn't push that on you. I didn't tell you had to do it. I gave you a way out of this. Don't say I didn't. You can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Like I said, you're talking to somebody who's debt-free. I have been in debt many times in my life, but I've managed to dig myself out every single time. Every single time. I've paid everybody back I owed money to, except for Discover. They're not fans of me. But hey, we agreed on a settlement. But that was 32 years old at the time. But either way, I dug myself without filing for bankruptcy or asking mommy for money. I dug myself out every single time. Okay? And I've had shit jobs. Many, many, many shit jobs. I was in the healthcare industry for fucking almost like 13 years. The healthcare industry, 13 years. All the jobs sucked. They didn't pay very well. And I managed to get myself out of debt every single time. I got nice clothes. I got a good life. I got a great life. I work very hard. I'm in great shape. I'm in good health. So, anyways, let's get the fuck out of here. You can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Questions, concerns, comments, email me, DM me there. You can hit me up through my website, positivesarcasm.com. Go to the contact page. You can email me directly at positivesarcasm@outlook.com. Look, if you don't believe me, I'll help you try to debunk the shit that I'm putting out there. This is not Israel, Palestine. This is not Ukraine, Russia. Okay? This is not any of that. This is simply you're in a shitload of debt because it's your own goddamn fault. Or somebody gave you the wrong financial advice. It's either one of the two. They told it to you, but you listened. You didn't have to do it. I'm here to tell you from experience, not from certification, not from a degree, not from qualifications or certified whatever, Series 7. I'm just telling you from experience. I went through this. You don't have to. But I paid it all off, and I'm keeping it off. You don't have to. All right? And I'm not like sitting here eating ramen noodles. I've got all kinds of energy supplements in front of me. I got a brand new phone in front of me. I got 2 beautiful computers in front of me with many more ready to go. I got all kinds of cool shit. I got food in the fridge. I got food in the oven. I got threads on. I got a beautiful dog. I'm in a beautiful situation altogether. Nice furniture. It's not expensive. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to live like that, where you're showing up on Caleb what's his faces and him yelling at you about the amount of money you spend every single week on shit that you don't need. I mean, if you are buried in debt, the only thing you need is a calculator. and figure out everything that you take into account each month. How many subscriptions to bullshit do you have every single month? Whether it's HelloFresh or this, that, or the other thing. And get rid of it. Be like, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. Do you have one credit card that is probably your best use case? Okay, that's your emergency credit card. Cut the other ones. You're not going to use them anymore. And you're going to start one by one. You're going to pay the minimum on the one that you like. And the rest of them, you're going to start paying those down. And one by one, you're going to knock all them bitches off. All right? And you're going to get rid of those because those are going to hurt your credit the most. Ultimately, you're not going to give a fuck about your credit score at the end of this thing because once you're down to 0 or little, it's not going to matter anyways. So you're going to kill all that stuff first, little by little, by basically taking the Starbucks, get rid of that. The Uber Eats, getting rid of that. The Amazon Prime, the Netflix, the Hulus, getting rid of that. Selling some stuff you don't need, getting rid of that. And once you start doing that and getting rid of one thing by one thing by one thing by one thing, it's going to compound. And you're going to be able to get rid of this debt faster. And if you do have a large car loan, maybe you can offset. Maybe since the demand for cars is supposedly really high right now, maybe you can break even on your trade and get rid of that and go buy something cheaper. And buy something cheaper, you're going to free up a ton of cash on something that's more reasonable. And then you can really amplify the amount that you're paying off on things. And the less debt you have, the more you can start investing and then building towards a future. Don't worry about the economy defaulting or anything like that. You need to focus on getting rid of your own debt first before you can worry about what the government's doing or what the world's doing or who's keying Teslas or are the Jews really responsible for all the problems in the world, which they're not. Knock it the fuck off. Give me a break, okay? Stop blaming everybody other than yourself. You got yourself into most of the messes in your life. You're responsible for getting yourselves out of them. Stop blaming some other race, religion, or creed or government for the problems that are in your own life when you can fix them your fucking self. Your health, your wellness, your ideology, your credit card debt, your family problems. Fuck it all. You can fix it all yourself. Don't complain about everybody else's issues when you got issues of your own. You're a fat ass, make yourself skinny. You're in debt, pay that shit off. You got an expensive car, get rid of it. You got a fucking relationship that's dragging you down, ditch that shit. You're in a town you don't like, move. You got a job you hate, quit and go get a better one. You got lives that you can better yourselves. You just refuse to do it. So don't complain to me that your life sucks, that you're in a relationship that you can't stand, you're in debt up to your eyeballs, and that's everybody else's fault but your own. It's your fucking problem. You fucking fix it. Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. I'll talk to you all next week on the last episode in this goddamn shithole. Recorded here from the shithole Spare Parts Studio nearby New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast. For entertainment purposes only because I'm not qualified in shit. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.